Hello and welcome to the Folklore of the Earth. My name is Emily Webster and we have Derek Chapman here today as well, our energy healer. And today we are going to talk about the goddess. We're going to talk about Mother Earth and the different ways in which she's turned up. So I've just been chatting to Derek before we've come on today. And yeah, we've both had very interesting interactions with our spirit teams before today. I've been given a very interesting piece. For many, many years, I've been involved in ancestral healing work. My ancestral healing work began, I'm going to say 12, 13 years ago. And I was fully brought into the path of ancestral healing. Psychopomp work that I do is about the journey of souls after they died, and I became aware that this is something that my soul is very experienced with when I was 4 years old, and I realized that the souls of the dead members of my family were coming to me, and so I'd become aware that somebody had died before even being told. And it was really interesting because I wasn't told. It was one of the ancestral patterns that I'm here to unlock. It's like actually communicating, grieving healthily as a family, and communicating that with children as well. And as a mother of 4, I'm really embracing that role, to bring through that healing. So what was happening when I was 4 was basically that I was aware of the journey of the soul. And when sort of fast forward, I know that when I was about 6, I stopped speaking. And I feel like that was, lots of people have this experience where they're kind of like, it's too much to bridge between the veils. And it's almost like, if I start speaking, I'm going to be humiliated, abandoned, or, something like that. I know you've been through experiences like this, Derek, haven't you?
Yeah. Right.
And so the final piece of ancestral healing that I was given today was 6 stages. And the final stage of ancestral healing is land, is coming back to the goddess, is earth. So essentially, ancestral healing generally starts with somebody within a family witnessing, noticing, and feeling patterns which aren't working. That's your first stage. Your second stage is dissolution, where the structures of the family are coming into questioning. And so they start to unravel. Things that have worked for many, many generations stop working. Communication breaks down, that kind of thing. It could be many, many, many things. Everything's unique. And the third stage is really about a welcoming. It's for the person that has perhaps been cast out of the family or put aside, or the scapegoat or the black sheep, whoever that person is who's going through initiating the healing process. It's for them to be welcomed by the illuminated ancestors and Mother Earth. That person is now welcomed on a level that nobody in that family has ever been welcomed. Because if they were, there wouldn't be issues in that family line. Okay, that is, each family needs to be fueled with love from the roots, from the illuminated ancestors of love and light from each family. And that's the self-sustaining system of love which fuels each family. And that's in the invisible realm, but that's very much coming into this realm. The fourth stage is to heal the ghost ancestors and to heal the patternings. So that means that any earthbound souls which are still on this realm or in the earth, me and Derek will talk a bit more about, we clear land of war. We've cleared prisons. We've cleared so many sites where these souls have just been abandoned. And I was strongly guided with my song, Bring Back the Bones, to kind of really honor and gather all of these souls that have just been, not honored and not brought back to the family tree and brought to the light through ancestral healing. And when we do land healing, we do mass ancestral healing work. Then we're coming to what I would say is like the 5th stage of ancestral healing, which is it's coming back to the roots. It's allowing the love to flow through from the illuminated ancestors of the light. This process 5, never ever stops. If you're healing the ancestors, you're beginning a sacred cycle of practices which will continue for the rest of your family tree. It's about reinitiating ancient cycles. And the 6th stage is your relationship as a family with the land. The spirits of the land, the trees, the flowers, the plants in your garden, the sacred elementals, guardians of the land where you are living.
Mm-hmm.
And this return to the land is part of ancestral healing. And I'm so excited this morning that this final piece has dropped, because it makes me make so much sense of why am I doing the folklore of the earth and ancestral healing? Where are all these strands, you know? And I'm kind of really, what's happening now, and lots of people are finding that their kind of strands are really being woven together in a very, very concrete way. Do you want to speak into that a little bit, Derek?
Well, as you said, we do a lot of retrieving of the souls and everything, and that's very interesting. And I was speaking to my soul this morning, actually, and I asked him, when I die, where do I go? And he says, oh, when you die, you come to me for a while. And then he says, then you move on. But he wouldn't tell me where I move on to. So this is what you're telling me is really interesting. Yes, we are of the earth. We are the energies we are everything. We are also the energies of the universe. We're so much. Well, we are very, very much so much. And going back to the goddess and going back to the earth, and I do believe that the goddess did make us as humans. And I do feel that they did do that. And I also feel that the soul was created as well at the same time. And so you get the soul and your higher self, as we all know. And the higher self comes through the soul and comes through to us as beings.
Yeah.
So when we're standing on this earth, we are connected to all the energies of everything. And we can pull in any of the energies that we so desire if you want to. And in doing that, you get this knowledge, what we call knowledge. And it's a knowledge of the light. It's a frequency, the knowledge of all this light coming in from different parts of the universe and the earth as well. So this is why it's, yeah.
This is what we're into. We're plugged into this web of life. So through the ancestral healing work, on a human level, we feel like we belong. So the kind of the difference in me and my perception of my human self, perception of how can I move forward in my life with patterns that have been stopping me for many, many years. There was suddenly this kind of like, oh no, I'm part of the goddess, I'm part of the earth, I'm welcome, I'm connected with the trees, I'm connected with this big web of life. And from that, it completely transformed me emotionally, physically, spiritually, what I believed about myself. And for me, that was the foundation, and it's a foundational piece that's often missing. And this is why we treat the earth as a species as we do, because we don't recognize it as the mother. You know, we don't recognize the goddess as the mother. And we think that our ancestral healing or our family issues are going to be solved with kind of isolation or estrangement or whatever is going on. And actually, when we connect with the Divine Mother, which we do when we go through the illuminated ancestors, We give our human self, our spiritual selves, what we need. And what I learn so much about working with the goddess energy, the divine great mother, is that all of our needs that we've dismissed as being needy, or oh, it's okay because that's just normal, she does not let us dismiss ourselves. She is so loving and nurturing, and it's this endless well of, she's constantly saying to me, you're welcome, you belong, you're loved. It's like constant, constant, constant. And it's not, I think we pay a lot of attention in the physical realm of kind of like nourishment as what we eat or our sleep. But when we connect with the goddess, it's a emotional and spiritual nourishment, which once we feel it, we realize how missing it's been. And that's the energy of the mother.
Yes. So when you do, can I ask you a question? When you do your healing on your ancestors, what do you, who do you speak to? The soul or the person?
So do you mean healing specific ancestors?
Yeah. If you get a client coming to you in a person just now needing to be cleansed because there's something happening in her life or his life or
Yeah.
whatever, do you speak to the ancestors? And in speaking to the ancestors, is it the past ancestors, or is it actually the soul that you are speaking to that is past ancestors?
So it's essentially every family has got a council. So the ancestral fire is the council of the ancestors who have been chosen to hold council on each family. And that is who you visit when you go to the ancestral fire. So they're the illuminated ancestors of the past. If I'm working with somebody who is getting a lot of what I would call interference, and that means the kind of like they're trying to move on in a pattern, or like, for example, I work with a lot of women, for example, and they can't find somebody to love. They can't find the perfect man. And I journey into it. And what happens so often is that their family line has been stripped of the masculine. Okay, this is such an issue that we're working with. Why is that? Well, that's because of war, because of the shut due to war. And so, these women are thinking, well, what's wrong with me? And am I not attractive? Am I not this? And, they're kind of doing all these self-help things. And then you kind of like, you bring in the sacred masculine through the ancestral fire, and they start working with the male ancestors of the family who are their guardians. So there's been generations where I just find it such a gorgeous, really emotional, because this has been the case for me, where like the grandfathers, the illuminated grandfathers of the family come through, and they become the masculine support team for my clients, and they give them guidance. It takes the situation from being personal to a bigger family tree issue, to an ancestral issue. But what I do is I then give my clients practices where they work with the masculine, and they can call on these illuminated grandfathers of the family, the well-rested ones, the ones that are healed, and very often what they need is to feel safe. They need to feel protected, because the masculine in a family it's like, we work with stone circles. So the image I was given was like the feminine is like a bowl of water, or like a kind of the water element, the soft, the heart, and the masculine is like the stones around that hold the space. And what happened during war is that the stones, the masculine holding the protection of the feminine, completely disappeared, because the men went to war and they came back and they were shadows of themselves. They were shells of themselves. There was so much soul loss. My granddad that did go through the war, he suffered Alzheimer's, Alzheimer's is a huge sign of soul loss, you know, not being completely there emotionally. And what the illuminated ancestors of my family have managed to do for me is to really bring through the masculine support and holding, and for my clients as well. And we work with the elements, we work with stone, we work with the oak tree, we work with all of these allies that bring through those energies that have been missing. And that's why the earth is so important, because the earth has unbroken wisdom. The earth witnessed war, but she never went to war. You know, the goddess witnessed it, she feels it in her heart, but she didn't lose who she was. But our family lines did. And that's what we're working with. So it's essentially a counsel that I consult on behalf of the client. But my biggest goal is for each person to have direct counsel, sit in counsel with the elders of the family in spirit. That's what I wish for each person.
Well, thank you very much, Emily. That's very, very interesting. For me, that's extremely interesting, because I've never really did any kind of work on that, I must admit. It's kind of a side that I haven't looked at a lot at all. But energetic way, I do know that when the souls are lost in battle or in whatever, and they are in the soil, they don't seem to have the knowledge to move out of there until we come along and do the.
Very fast.
Yeah, go on in, Joe, go, you go.
No. I was just saying that it's so interesting that so often we're talking and we've got like interference, and I had a plane going past. So I'm just going to have to ask you to just repeat what you were saying. Sorry, because I couldn't.
Oh, sorry.
I
can't remember what I said now. I was just saying about the retrieving of the souls and how they were lost during wars and during everything. And they don't seem to have the knowledge to move out of that. And
Absolutely, because a lot of them don't even know they're dead. You know, a lot of them don't even know that they're dead. You ask them where their bodies are, and it's like you can just sense that complete confusion. And when, you know, and that just puts a hiatus on the whole healing process, and the impact that has on family lines is huge. You know,
so
and
the people is coming through just now, and coming to you because they need this healing, is because mostly, my understanding is mostly because the soul hasn't come back. They haven't got the knowledge and the light to come, and they need to heal this. So the duty of the person is to do the healing on this. The duty of the person is what the person needs to do to take this energy into the now. And the energy is now. We are here now, so this is where we are, not back there and not in the future. So it's the now. So we need to take it here. And I can understand that. And that's why we're doing so much work in soul retrieval. And the way we're doing that just now is because the dark veil, as I call it, the dark veil, is releasing all this. Can't do this anymore. Can't use that energy. So it's releasing the souls, and it's releasing them out of the earth. And now that you explain that to me, I can understand more why we need to do this, to release the souls. And it's for the people that is actually living just now and the now that can help them immensely by doing this.
That's right. So if you think about the pieces of work that we've done on the Sacred Isles, the British Isles, and this is something that I speak of a lot, that I have lived in many different countries, and I have this kind of, I've lived with this kind of sense of repulsion about being English. And my spirit guides, they're bringing me through lots and lots of healing, what I need around this. And that's why they were kind of like, but, and they're bringing the healing of me and back to my land. So it's a really big sign that I'm in stage 6 of the process, that, you know, through the plant spirits, through the tree spirits, and a sense of belonging. And that's kind of the landing and earthing and rerouting back to sovereignty, essentially. Now, if you think about the work we did recently in Ireland, on the border, and what was happening there, we had the border was weakened between Northern and Southern Ireland. And what we witnessed was the pain of, now there's just something just come through now, I just need to speak it. It's what I'm getting from that healing that we did was, when you take away the language, the stories, the songs, the dances of cultures, you take away the souls of communities and families. And that is what has happened across the board. And, you know, and I spoke last time when we were talking about what is darkness, and I was kind of like, I had this such a sense of shame took over me when I was sat by the campfire in Ireland all those years ago. I could feel the kind of the frustration at holding something that wasn't mine, but also it being stuck. And the peace now is, there's so much in the land, like Mother Earth, the goddess, holds so much wisdom about what the people have witnessed on each land, like war. And even like, we worked with the giants last time, didn't we, in Ireland? And that's such an important piece, because the giants are part of the mythology, but what we could see was the giants they'd been taken over, and the giants were confused about what was happening. And it wasn't until we really spoke into them and cleared that vortex that was being misused, that we could really come and bring the whole area back to peace. So if you think about healing is about the mind, it's about the heart, it's about the soul. It's also about, well, how does that soul make sense? The soul only makes sense if the land and the family and the stories and the words and the songs and everything makes sense within it. And when we did the water healing, I was guided so strongly to do a vortex dance with women in water, because women and water are so connected, because it's like the feminine, the heart, that really activating and cleansing the water, but not just, I keep getting this, not just once. Live in ceremony, live in cycles. I feel like I've gone off, but I've also stayed really close to, you know, what we're doing. Yeah, do you want to speak into that, Derek?
Well, it was interesting when you're speaking about this work that we did in Ireland, and this vortex was there, and this giants was there, and I could see the big giants, and I never really knew about giants. I didn't know about giants existed like that, but they were there for a reason, and they were there because they were guarding this vortex, which they thought was correct, but this darkness confused them. And when we lifted that vortex, and this is where a lot of souls came out of, and I must admit, I've never seen so much souls come out of that when we did that work. It was quite intense, let's say, and there's an awful lot of souls was released. But that energy that we were dealing with was quite dark, very dark, and it's been there for a long time.
That's
so we cleared that.
Talk about darkness, because I know that one of the things that can really, when you pretend something isn't there, it gets worse.
Yes.
I needed to keep it.
Yes, well,
not hide under the carpet and it'll disappear.
You're smudging yourself, dear.
I know. Being guided with that.
Yeah. So in doing that, we released an awful lot of souls, and we did. And my understanding of that is it's releasing a lot of the energies that's coming back to the earth, if it needs to come back to the earth. And in doing so, we're also releasing the earth, but we're also releasing the darkness too at the same time. And the
And this is
veil,
what
this veil of darkness is receding, and it's getting more less and less and less. So that souls, people will be wondering, oh, what happened to all the souls? And I said, well, I'll tell you what happened to the souls, because I knew what happened to the soul. The souls went up, and they were taken and healed by the light. They lie in beds, light beds, and I've seen this light beds before, and the light shines through them, and this light heals the soul, gives the soul the knowledge that it needs, because knowledge is ability. And they lost the knowledge because they've been used and abused and so many times. And for how many years? God knows. It could be any time. So we give them back the knowledge. We give them back what they are, who they are, and what they are supposed to do. And doing that, they lie in this beds of light for at least 3 days. And then they get up from the bed of light, and they usually have a guide with them, and they speak, and they just heal themselves. Now a lot of them, we did this work about, was it 2 weeks ago now?
I
Two
think so.
weeks, yeah. 2 weeks ago, I know some of the souls has gone back. If they have a person, they go back to the person. If they haven't got a person, they move on and use their energy into the light, the divine light that is actually coming and shining down here.
Yeah. So that's really
And
interesting.
yeah,
Go on.
and that's what happened to the souls at this precise moment. So and it's interesting that they say some of the souls came and spoke to me and said, "Oh, do I still have a body? Have I still got a person?" And I said, "Well, I don't know yet." But then I was told, "Yes, they still have got a person." And they said, "Well, why?" The soul said, "Why have I got a person, but I was never with the person?" That's a good question. And I said, "Well, you were trapped in this darkness, and you were using your light and your energy. The darkness was forever it was trying to make." So he
Absolutely.
said, "I'm going back to my person then." And I said, "Yes, you will be going back to your person. And there's guides going to go with each one of those souls and take it back to the person and help them to get back into the person, be there for the person." So this alone will have a huge difference to a lot of people. A lot of people. In fact, when we did that work, it's improved me. I feel different. I feel completely different again. And I don't know how you feel, Emily, but I do feel a bit different. And I know it's because we did some of that work. And maybe some of that work, some of that souls, is associated with my soul. And then in that is associated with me. Because remember, we are all the energies together. We are everything. We are everything. And this is why it's important for the goddess and for us to do this work. And not only that, we are being really connected into the land even more. And the energy coming up and the frequencies coming up into the land, coming out of the land and coming into us. So that grounds us. We need to be grounded because that's important. And each one of us, it's grounded even more. The light can work through us and lift the earth up. And that is exactly what's happening. Because
So I find that
30 years ago, Emily, I couldn't speak about this. Because
no.
people say, "Oh no, you're off ahead. You're mad." When this is not happening. But people, look how curious people are now. They want more knowledge in what's happening. They want more information. And there is a lot of information coming through. But be
Yeah.
aware that it's the true information. Because there is a lot of falseness as well. I can tell you that too. But this is the truth, and this is what's happening, and it's pulling the earth to a different place in the universe where we were before, this happening, this darkness took over us.
Well, this is why it feels like a bit of a sick joke. Have film genres or like zombie apocalypse, and I can't watch things like that. And I know that we have been part of the council at the center of the earth for for nearly a year now, and we neither of us both of us had the same reactions with Lord of the Rings. We couldn't watch it, didn't want to involve ourselves with Star Wars because it's just too close to the bone for both of us. And what's happened for me recently is that to be really kind of like have my internal world completely validated and completely be surrounded by souls such as yourself, and reconnecting with the ancestors of the light and reconnecting in with the land. These are the grounding pieces, the foundational pieces for the new earth. It's kind of coming back into correct relationship, and that's what the Great Mother wants. That's what the goddess is wanting, to come back into loving relationship, to be able to love her children, to be able to purify the souls, to be able to ensure that all of her beings and her creations are loved. And very, very often, because when we do the healings, I channel this through as the feminine aspect of the healing. I think we can really kind of recognize that when we're doing the land healings, that you're bringing through the masculine, I'm bringing through the feminine. I don't think it would work any other way. When I think about people, oh, I'm going to douse this, I'm going to bring in this energy. It's like, no, the fully embodied land healing is about really, really feeling it, and really, really fully listening to the voice of the land, and really knowing what is being spoken and what is being shared. I was given an ancestral healing ritual by the hazel tree, which was it's about speaking the stories of all the souls. And in the land, it's the same. When we do our land healing sessions, I'm always being told and channeling through what the land is saying, what the goddess is saying, because without it being spoken, it cannot be released. It cannot come into correct alignment. We can't live in truth without the truth of the land being spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the importance of the earth, and that's the importance of the goddess. And I understand, in my understanding, the goddess stayed with the earth because she needed to be with the earth. And going back in the history, I don't know if people want to know about what the gods were on this earth before. And unfortunately, they used humanity not in the correct way, and they were banned for coming into this earth. And
Derek, can I ask, can we talk about that next time? Because not only do we talk about that, we need to talk about the planet Uranus, we need to talk about Venus, we need to talk about Mars, who we have.
Yes.
But this is another issue. I feel like kind of really keeping on with the goddess today, and there's not much more time left for us today, but if we can just finally just say, like, for me, the goddess is the feminine essence of love and mothering that we have not had. And her energy, the Great Mother, is going to change all of our relationships. All of our relationships. And thank you so much, Derek, for asking about that today and giving your perspective as well. Because I think that what we see in the land healings and what we see when we're connecting is it's happening up there. The Great Mother, the goddess, her energy is coming through and being felt, and we're witnessing it in our lives. It's coming down here, and it's completely transforming the way we connect with each other. Do you want to speak to that?
Well, I'm just being told now, speak about the all, and the communication that was given to the goddess, because she was isolated from the rest of the universe and everything, right? She was isolated. When we went down and we gave her the all is a communicator for everything. It's all energies. It's all everything. And this has made a huge difference to the goddess. and she now is talking to all the different parts, as we said, and as we said, we'll do this the next video. That is very important for her. For now, she doesn't feel isolated. Now she feels complete. She's more complete than she's ever been. There's more to come. There's more to come for her, and I'm just getting really goosey when I speak about this. There's more to come for her.
Such a good place to end. Thank you, Derek. Thank you so much for that. So I really want to talk to you about the all and the gods, because interestingly, they came up, and I have had an interest in astrology, and then it kind of came right in my face, and I was communicating with the planets and really understanding where it all come from, and I'm going to save that for next time. Thank you so much for your time today, Derek. Absolutely wonderful reflections. So lovely to connect. And yeah, if you have any questions about anything we've spoken about, just post them below. And that's all from us. Thank you so much. Lots of love. Bye now.
Well, thank you, Emily. And I appreciate what you're doing. And I appreciate your answers as well, because it's made a difference for me too. So thank you very much, Emily. For till the next time.
See you later.
Be safe.
Bye now.